Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Concept. So today I'm going to show you 15 tips and tricks in Adobe Photoshop. So let's just get started. Welcome to Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. So the first one is opening up a new document. So usually you just go to File, you click on New, or you go to Open. Then you select whichever file you want to open. You just click on Open and it will come up here. Or you can just go to your File Explorer. Then you just click and drag your work in here. That is also there. But the trick I'm showing you is very simple. Just double click on this empty space right here and your File Explorer is just going to open up. So you select whichever image you want to import into Photoshop and just click on Open. Tip number 2. So if you're already working in Adobe Photoshop and you make a few changes, the moment you make the changes, we have this asterisk right here. So in case you are wondering whether you've saved your work, just look up here and find the asterisk. If there is an asterisk, it means your work is not saved. So I'll quickly go ahead and save this up. So File, Save, and you see that we have that asterisk off. Now if I make changes to this document one more time, like so, you can see that the asterisk comes one more time. For tip number 3, that is importing video frames to layers. So to do that, just go to File and click on Import. And under Import, click on Video Frames to Layers. Then select which particular video you want to use. Now I'm going to set mine to start from the beginning, then to the end. Or you can select a specific range you want, or you limit it by the number of frames. So for mine, I'll just limit it by 20 frames and click on OK. That is because I don't want mine to be too lengthy. So just go to Window, then click on Timeline, and this is what is going to pop up. So when you click on Play, you can see that the individual videos come in like so. So every single layer is represented right here. This is very important in case you want to see how an animation is done or an intro video like this one is also created. You can see every single thing layer by layer, and you can create it yourself if you want to. For tip number 4, that is replacing the color. So if you are old to this channel, anytime I want to change the color, I just go to Adjustment panel and I'll click on Hue or Saturation, and I'll just change the saturation from here, and that is done. So the part I don't need, I'll just brush it out. Now there's a simple way to also do this, but before you do that, make sure you duplicate your layer. So just click on the layer you want to change the color, go to Image, and under Image go to Adjustment, and under Adjustment just click on Replace Color, and that will bring up this dialog box right here. So you use the eyedropper tool to sample which color you want to replace. So in my case, I'll select this red color, and you can see it is already sampled out right here. I want to change it to something like blue, so I'll select blue color from here. You know what, let's just go with this color, and I'll click on OK. Once you do that, the color is going to be replaced from there, and you have this. So for tip number 5, that is changing the opacity with numbers. So I have an image here. I'll quickly just add in a solid color like this, and I'll click on OK. So with that layer selected, if I want to change the opacity, I'll just go to my numbers on top of the letters on my keyboard or on your numpad, and I'll type in something like 45. So you see it changes to 45. I can also change it to 87. I can change it to 10. But if you just press one key, like a key like 6, it's just going to change it to 60. 8 will change it to 80, 2 will change it to 20, and so on and so forth. For tip number 6, that is duplicating the layer. So let's just say I want to duplicate this logo layer right here. To do that, I'll just right click and go to Duplicate Layer. That is one way. I'll click and drag over here. That is another way. Or hit Ctrl J, and that will also create a duplicate. Now another way to duplicate this is with your layer selected. Make sure that the Move tool is also selected. Then hold down Alt, and the moment you do that, you realize that the arrow changes to this 2 sets of arrows with black on top of white. The moment you just click and drag this outside, it's going to duplicate. And as long as you hold down Alt, it's going to duplicate a couple of times. So for tip number 7, whilst on the subject of holding down Alt and clicking and dragging, this is for layer styles. So in case you have a layer style like this rectangle right here, you can see that we have a little bit of drop shadow over here. Now I want to duplicate this drop shadow on all of the layers. So basically you just right click, you go to copy layer style, you come over here, you right click, you go towards paste layer style. But there's another way of doing it, that is holding down Alt. So when you hold down Alt, you just click this FX onto the layer you want to apply the effects, like so, and it's going to apply it over there and apply over here and over here as well. So for tip number 8, whilst on the subject of layer styles, if you want to quickly access layer styles, instead of selecting your layer and going into FX, which is down here, then you click on blending options, then you apply your layer style, you can simply just click on the edge of the layer right here. That would be the extreme right. So if I double click on this, the layer style just pop up. For tip number 9, on the subject of clicking on the edges of layers, if I have this background layer, which is just the color part of this, so you know what, let me just turn off everything from here so that you can see. So that is the color part. Now if I want to create a selection around here, I just have to use my quick selection tool, then I'll create a whole selection, then it's just going to sample out that part. Now there's a simple way of doing it. If you want that particular area, just hold down Control, and when you hold down Control and you hover over the thumbnail, you realize that the icon changes to this. And once it is like that, just click one time and that selection is going to be created. So for tip number 10, that is clipping mask. So usually if you have a custom shape like this one, let me move it a little bit right here, and you want it to affect just the image, you have to control click on the thumbnail of this shape. Then you go back to your layer, then you create a layer mask on top of that. Then the image is only going to be affected by that particular area. Now there's another way of doing this, and that is super easy. So for that way, you just have to bring the shape beneath the image. Then you click on the image itself, right click and go to create clipping mask. And once you do that, you have the same thing over here. This is more flexible because you don't lose the image quality or how big the size the image is. You can always resize it, and it is only going to show where the shape is. So for tip number 11, if you are old to this channel, you know that rulers are very important to me. Now to bring up rulers, you just have to hold down Control and press R. Now once this is done, you can just quickly go to the top or the edge, right click on it, then you select your unit of measurement. So currently it's set to inches. I can change it to centimeters, can change it to pixels, and I can even change it to points. Now for tip number 12, if you have a bunch of random layers on your workspace, now if you want to select all or any of them, you have to go to the layers, you hold down Control or Shift, then you select which particular ones you want to move. Now there's a neat way of doing this, and you can just select them from your workspace. That is, once you click on the first image you want to move, just hold down Shift and click on the second, and that is also going to select them from you. So if I want to select this and that, I'll hold down Shift and I'll select that one, and it is automatically going to select them in the layers panel for me. So for tip number 13, this is actually a tool. So let's just say you have your pen tool and you create a shape like this. Then you realize that you've made a mistake at this edge and you want to quickly correct that. You have to undo, then recreate it. Now there's a cool tool you can use. That is the direction tool, that is the direct selection tool, which is right here. So you just click on it and you can just change the path from here. So basically you just select the layer, then you move these anchor points from one to the other, and the shape is just going to move along that particular path. For tip number 14, that is exporting layers to files. So I have a bunch of images of random phones right here. So let's just say I want to save these images one after the other. Usually you have to turn off the eyeball from this. You save this, you come here, you turn on the eyeball for this too, you save that one, then you save this one too. And there's an easy way of doing this. You can even highlight the ones you want to export. Just go to File, another File, go to Export, and another Export, just go to Layers to Files. Now this is going to open up this dialog box here. So you select which particular area you want to put this. So in my case, I'm just going to put them on this hard disk and I'll click on OK. Then what particular name do I want to give it? So I'll just tell it tutorial. And once I've done that, I'll make sure I select which file type I want to use. So let's just go with PSD. So that is going to be Photoshop files for every single one of them. Then you click on Run. So this is done, and if I go to my hard disk, you can see that all the layers we just have are all here. So let me quickly open them up for you to see. And every single one of them has been saved in its own individual Photoshop file. Now, tip number 15, that is changing the color of the entire interface. So usually you just go to File and you go to Preference, and under Preference you just click on General or just Interface from here. And once you do that, you select which specific color you want to use. But there's a faster way of doing this without all those mouse clicks. And that is holding down Control, holding down Shift, and varying F1 and F2. So F2 will increase it, make it a little bit more whiter, and F1 is going to darken them up. So do me a favor and let me know in the comments below which one you already knew and which one you didn't know, perhaps which one I didn't even cover in this video, and I'll be so glad for that. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Final Concepts, and I'll see you guys in the next one.